What's up, friend? We have saw some of the redirections in our last tutorial, and in this we will try to look at some of the redirections in more details. So the first command which we will run is exec. Now exec is a shell inbuilt command. In the sense, it's not an extra binary or utility which supplements the shell functionality, but it's part of the actual core source code of the shell. So exec spawns a new process. It's similar to fork, if some of you are aware of system calls fork in C, but exec differs slightly, which we will not go into the details. So as of now, the only thing you can consider about exec is exec spawns a new shell or spawns a new process if it needs to run some command by default. But if you don't give any command, and if you give a number, integer number, so what it does is it does a redirection of the entire shell. So you have opened one terminal and there is a shell associated with terminal bin bash, and when you say exec like this, so what it means is it opens a file descriptor 3 and it redirects all the contents to that file name. So which means anything which writes to file descriptor 3 goes to a file. So we have seen std in, which is 0, std out 1, stdr 2. But where is this 3 coming from? 3 is users. So 0, 1, 2 is created by system. 3, 4, 5, 6, as many numbers as you wish to. There are some limits, so we will not go into that limit. But you can create all those other file descriptors you wish. So let's go and run a quick example what I mean by that. So this is my terminal, and then of course there is a shell associated, because whenever you open a terminal there is a bash running inside that, because terminals are associated with a bash. Okay, so now let me run one quick command, and I will say exec 3 and less than greater than, and I will say mylog.txt. So I will say now echo hello. Now if you see hello, hello is coming to a screen. It's not going to a log file. Had it been going to a log file, it would have not printed on the screen. Why it's not going to a log file? Because we are redirecting 3. When by default, when you say echo hello goes to std out. But we are not redirecting std out to a log file. We are redirecting file descriptor 3, which doesn't have any name, because only 0, 1, 2 has a specific name. Now let's suppose I write the same command echo hello and I say greater than ampersand 3. What this means is whatever I am typing here, it should be redirected to file descriptor 3. Now when it is going to file descriptor 3, we have already set up our redirection that whatever comes to file descriptor 3, put it to a log file. Now when we run this command, you see there is nothing coming onto output onto a screen. And if I see my log file, the log file has the word hello. Now if I say again another keyword hello world, again it's not coming to a screen. And if I say here, so if you see here, it gets appended. So even though we are saying redirect to a 3, once it goes to a file, so everything when it goes to a file, and even though we are pushing in this file here, when it opens, everything when it goes to a file, it's in a append mode. So even though the symbol here is greater than, but it keeps on appending, writing. Now if I want to turn off this behavior, because I have already set up the redirection, so I can do exec 3 greater than ampersand hyphen. So what it means is whatever redirection is there with respect to file descriptor 3, we will cancel that. Now once I cancel that, and if I run this command again, it will give me an error, bad file descriptor, because this file descriptor is not being redirected. So when I'm writing to 3, it's a bad file descriptor, and of course it will not go to a log file. Whatever was there previously, only those contents will be there. The new contents hello world will not be typed. So to make sure it's a new, we will just write like this, and see there is no hello world new. So this is the way you can redirect any specific file descriptor. So you exec 3, you can have 3, 4, 5, and followed by less than, greater than, and file name. To close that, you see exec 3 greater than ampersand hyphen, so it will close the file descriptor 3. So once you close that, if you put a message like this, it will not go through, it will give a bad file descriptor. So we have already seen, so the generic form is n less than ampersand hyphen, which we have seen like 3 less than ampersand hyphen. So instead of 3 it can be 4, 5, 6, whatever. It close the input file descriptor. So when it's a less than, it's a input. When it's greater than, it's the output file descriptor. So here less than is the input file descriptor. Now when you say 0, with 0 is std in, and then it's a less than. So you can use either this form or this form. So by default, if in less than, if you don't give any number in front, which is counted as 0, so you can either use 0 less than ampersand hyphen, or you can say less than ampersand hyphen. Both closes the std in. If you say n greater than ampersand hyphen, n replaced by some numbers, so which means greater than is std out or output file descriptor. So you can say 3 greater than ampersand hyphen, which closes the particular output file descriptor. And here 1 greater than ampersand 1, which means 1 is std out, so close the std out. When you have a greater than sign and then there is no number, by default it takes as 1. Now there is another command, or you can say concept, which is pipes. So pipes are used to pass the output of one command to another. So what I mean by that is, we will look by some example. So one of the example we have is ls minus lr. So in ls minus lr, r means recursively go and fetch all the content. So if I run here, it will just try to get lot and lots of data for me, which would be too much and I would not be able to see. So if I want to see one screenshot at a time, so I can pass it to another command called pipe and less. So this pipe means pass the output of ls minus lr to less command, and whatever less does, it's up to less, whatever way it processes the data. Here the less command, what it does is it prints one page at a time, and when I press the space bar, it prints another page, then I can see what the data is. Even though there are a lot of data, I will not be able to see all of them, but it can process the data at a time. So pipe means you output the commands of the output of one command goes to the as an input to another command. So this is the first command. The output of whatever content shows on the screen goes as an input to less. And then there is another command, like let's suppose you want to show 10 files into a folder. So if you say ls minus lt, and then you can say pipe head minus 10, it will say only 10 outputs, and this 10 output includes this. So this is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and then this one line 10. So which means 10 line needs to be printed, and this is just a metadata. So you don't, this is not the actual file, but this is a metadata. After metadata, it prints out the contents. Then similarly, if I want to in my system to find all the file of type f is a regular file, and count it, so we can do that. So I cannot go inside my entire system, it will take a lot of time, but we can run here. So I have some of the files folders and some directory hierarchy. There's one directory and some concepts of files. So I can say find dot, and then I can could say type f. I wanted to have type f, so minus type f, and by default if I do this, it will list out all the files. And if I pass it to word count, it will tell me word count is wc. It's a feature. It will say how many lines, characters, and characters and words are present. So each line is word here, so that's why word and line are same, because each line is counted as one. If there would have been some space between these file names, a file name which has some space in between, then it would have counted as two words, but usually I don't create file like that. So that's why line, word, and counts are there. If I want to just see the line, it will say minus l options, which will give you 41. So word count is one of the features through which, like, whatever the output of the command find is there, I am piping it, I am giving it to word count. So this is another important features which we will be doing. And then similarly we can do, like, we have this etc password, so I can just do a word count or etc password. So here is another interesting thing. Let's suppose we say word count for /etc/password, so it will give me the word count. That's good. Now let's suppose I want to take this to a file. So usually what to take this to a file, because this is coming to std out, so I can say okay, file 1234.txt, and it goes to a file. I am not able to see onto a screen. But what if I want to see onto the screen and put it to a file? So I can pipe to another command called t, and t is a special command wherein whatever you pass it to that particular command, or I'm sorry, whatever you pass as the output of that particular command to t, it will push it to a file as well as show onto the screen. Now if I say here, see, you are seeing it on the screen, but simultaneously this file 1234 has it also there. Now if I just put it again, maybe another file, or maybe in this same file again another time, if you see here, it's just overriding. So there is an append mode also in the t. Some of the binary you can do that, but the bottom line is there is a command called t, using which you can show onto the std out as well as pass it to a file. You can redirect to a file for reading on later and see. So this is useful when suppose you are doing a make, and your make takes a lot of project files and it takes some time. So sometimes you want to push the output of make onto a screen, and at the same time if there is some error message, you want to go and refer into a log file, so you cannot issue the make file again. So what you do is you pipe it to a t make, pipe to t, and then some log file. So what will happen is you can see onto the screen, and then if you need to refer back, go and look for some syntax error or something, you can go and look into the log file. So that's the advantage of t. So those are the two commands, and I will try to cover some of the other concepts like wildcard in our next session. So hope to see you soon there. Thank you very much for watching my video.